So can. So, good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining this evening session on MIAD 805 on area study.
This meeting is being
session we are in this session we are going to do a preparation for the examination, preparing us on what we should expect in this course. So the course title is 805 and the course code is 805 and the title is Area Studies in the Middle East. So which means anything we are trying to do here is focus on the study of area study. So I will advise you, if you have pen, you can note. If you have question, you can ask me a question. Let it be interactive. So in case you don't understand anything, we'll try to go over it all. So this course has 3 modules. Module 1, Module 2, Module 3. And the Module 1 is just about the background, understanding what the Middle East is. I'm echoing. I don't know why I'm echoing. The story, the background of the Middle East. So that's all what we are going to look at in the how do you call it, in the Module 1. While in Module 2, we are going to look at major crises after the creation of the state of Israel. So major crisis in the Middle East. And the Module 3, we are going to look at some of the conflict also in the particular zone. So without wasting much of our time, we will try to look at why we are studying the Middle East. Why the Middle East? Why not Nigeria? Why not West Africa? Why not West Africa? Why the Middle East? So one thing you need to understand is that the Middle East occupies a central place in the world history and international politics. So if you are studying international politics, you need to familiarize yourself with the Middle East. Because no region in the world has influence globally when it comes to civilization, religion, economic, geopolitics than the Middle East. So anything you are thinking about in the world has occurred in one way or the other in the Middle East. Listen, so the importance of the Middle East derive from its interconnected factors based on the religion aspect, the economic aspect, the geopolitical aspect, the civilization aspect. So it is important for us to understand the Middle East itself. You know, we are not studying, we say it's area study, but we put in bracket Middle East. So we need to understand what the Middle East is, the story behind why we are studying this course. Listen, so first thing you need to know is that the region we are calling the Middle East is regarded as the cradle of civilization. It's regarded as a cradle of civilization. Understand? Because some of the earliest urban settlement, system of government, legal code, agricultural system, and writing tradition came from that particular zone. Listen, human civilization itself was transformed in the land between that particular Middle East. Listen, so if you are writing today, the writing, how do you call agricultural system, the legal code. That is what sometimes in the legal time you'll be hearing words that you were thinking, okay, maybe it's a Greek word or something, but most of them came from part of the Middle East. Listen, aside from that one, the Middle East is also regarded as the birthplace of the Abrahamic religion. Talking about Christianity, Islam, Judaism, they came from the Middle East. And you know that these 3 religions we are talking about, this religion today command the loyalty of billions of followers. We have billions of Muslim, Christian, and Jews around the world. And the religion came from the Middle East. Listen. So the religious significance of cities in the Middle East, Jerusalem, Mecca, Medina, Bethlehem, listen, means that the Middle East carries spiritual importance far beyond the geographical boundary. Listen, the first one, we talk about the civilization, being a cradle of civilization. The second one, we talk about being the birthplace of major Abrahamic religion. The third is that the Middle East contains some of the world's largest reserve of oil and natural gas. It contains some of the largest reserve of oil and natural gas. So modern industrial economy depend heavily on energy supply from this region. As I'm in the UK, I depend on the Middle East to survive when it comes to the energy. Listen, although UK has its own energy, but the global power depend on them to have more energy because they have the largest reserves of oil and natural gas. Listen, so consequently, the politics of the Middle East have changed when it comes to economic or global economic power. So today, if you see America, UK, Russia, China, if you see them there, they have a business to cater for there. There is oil and there is gas there. And oil has transformed the region from an historical crossroad into a central arena of international competition. All the world power, they want to dominate the zone. And if they want to dominate the zone, then that can be war at any time. Listen, sometimes you might be wondering that why is it that in those countries there is always war? They are playing politics with thought, politics of the mind. Let's leave religion apart. Understand? Let's leave religion apart. It's something is happening there. If you are studying this course, or if you study this course well, you understand that a lot is happening and the media is deceiving us. So that is the third reason why we are studying this course. The fourth reason why we are studying this course is that the Middle East has become a major theater for geopolitical rivalry among global power. That is, it has become a cornerstone, a place whereby there is usually clash between global powers in the world. And when we talk about global powers in the world, we may mention of Britain, France, USA, Russia, United Nations, United States of America. Listen, so because of the interest in the zone, because of the interest of this global power, it has become a center whereby they clash a lot. Listen, because they all became involved in that area because they have interest in the area. In the 20th century, Russia and China also joined them. Listen, Russia and China have been there also because they also want to tap from the rich resources in the zone. Listen, so the strategic location of the Middle East is very important because it helps us to connect Europe, Asia, and Africa together, making it easier for business and transaction to be done. Today, they are fighting in Iran and Israel. Iran and Israel are fighting. They closed the Strait of Hormuz. They close the place where ship usually pass and is affecting the whole world. The way oil is expensive in Nigeria at the moment, that's the same way it is expensive in other countries because they close the Strait of Hormuz, which is a connecting route, a connecting sea route between Asia, Europe, and Africa. Listen, and this fifth reason why you are studying this course is that many contemporary global issues occur in the Middle East. And when we talk about contemporary global issues, we mean terrorism, religion extremism, migration crisis, nuclear proliferation, violence, proxy war, all the things you might be thinking that is happening in the global world has occurred in the Middle East. So, which make the Middle East a reference to study, if you want to understand the global politics. Am I communicating, please?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, you are.
If you don't understand, you just let me know that you don't understand. Now, there is a question there is a past question. I'm on a past question. There is a common question that comes that say, explain why the Middle East is regarded as a cradle of civilization. That is a common question in the past question. Why the Middle East is regarded as a cradle of civilization. Understand? So the Middle East is often referred as the cradle of civilization because it has a lot of civilization that occur even before the Western civilization. The cradle of civilization, as it says, the description is reflected in the historical reality that many humanity has experienced in that particular region. Listen, talking about the Sumerian, just note it down, the Sumerian, I shared a note to you, the Sumerian were among the first people in human history to establish a fully developed civilization. Listen, that is, before the Westerner would think about the civilization, the Sumerians were in that particular zone. Listen, they emerged in a city they call Mesopotamia. Listen, so the Mesopotamia is the present-day Iraq. Listen, it was the present-day Iraq. Listen, so these Sumerians, they introduced many things. They introduced cuneiform writing, irrigation, agriculture, organized city-states, codified legal system, complex trade network, and the will. Listen, so they developed this thing before government will occur. Before we say government out, the system of government is there. They have an organized system of government. They have a codified legal status system. Before we say we have judge, we have lawyer, we have, listen, chief judge, they have their own codified legal system. They also have their own complex trade network, how they do business. Listen, so they have what we call centers of administration, religion, and commerce. That is before the white men bring in their own. And it was in the Middle East. And the Sumerian, go and Google it, the Sumerian achievement laid down the foundation of later civilization in the region. And after that came in the ancient Egypt. Listen, after that came in the ancient Egypt. The Mesopotamia, which I say is the current Iraq, they flourish in the east. The ancient Egypt, they developed alongside River Nile. River Nile, that's Nile River, in the northeastern of Africa. And the Egyptian civilization unified under the Pharaoh regime 3150 before Christ. So that Nile River played a decisive role when it comes to the Egypt society. Then they had fertile soil, they have river bank, they are how do you call? They are organized when it comes to agriculture. Egyptian civilization became more famous through the monumental architecture, like the pyramid. Even in 2026, we are seeing the pyramid in Egypt. You understand? That is a civilization that the white men cannot copy. Up to date, they cannot copy. They're even surprised how they did it. Understand? They have centralized kingship, which is a system of government that the current system of government copied. Understand? They have religious cosmology. They have advanced medicine and mathematics. So the political stability of Egypt allowed it to become one of the longest lasting civilizations. I know we are talking about history, but you need to understand that particular history. Why the Middle East is regarded as a middle civilization. After the Egypt come the Assyrian. You can see from my slide I'm sharing with you, the Assyrian, they have a complex military power. When we talk about defense, listen, when we talk about defense, they have a complex military power. They know how to defend their territory. And you know, when we talk about international politics, it's talking about how you can protect your national interest. The only way you can protect your national interest is if you have power. That is, and in the Assyrian also. Listen, after that one came in the Persia Empire. The Persia Empire on their own, they rose under Cyprus. Listen, they also have their own civilization they impacting. They have royal road network. They have provisional administration, religion tolerance, efficient system of government. All this we are talking, this is before Christ, BC. Listen, these are centuries before Christ. And this civilization exists in the Middle East. So after this, that one came in the Greek, the Roman, and the Greek Empire. Listen, the Greek Empire, they introduced education, architecture, philosophy, government, and language. While the Roman Empire, they came in with they came in with their own civilization also. So in essence, what we need to understand with this is that you need to understand the sequential order when you are trying to answer this question in examination, the sequential order of this civilization. Listen, the sequential order of this civilization. From the Sumerian to the Egyptians, to the Assyrian, to the Persian, to the Roman, to the Greek Empire. How they were able to make impact to the modern civilization. I will advise you, the way you can say your story is going to help you to have more. Listen, am I communicating, please? If you don't understand, let me know.
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. If you don't understand, just ask question. I know it's a story. I know it's story, but I'll try my best to not make it dull. Listen.
So, now, excuse me, Mr.
Yeah,
Akonji. I wanted to find out the Greek and the Roman, which one came first?
The call is breaking. Is it from my hand or from
your
end?
Can you hear me? I don't know. I can hear you very well. Yes. No, I said, when you were naming the empires, what I thought I heard first was the Greek before the Roman, but it's interchanged again. So I'm asking, which one came first? Is it the Greek Empire or the Roman Empire?
The Greek Empire come before the Roman, according to the
Roman Empire. Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you.
So the Greek Empire came under the conquest came under the Alexander the Great. So Alexander the Great, they conquered the Persia Empire. The Persia Empire came before them. They conquered the Persia Empire in the 4th century before Christ. And the Alexander the Great, he was able to influence education. His empire, the Greek, they were able to influence education, architecture, philosophy, governance, and language. So they have a system that is under a language of administration and scholarship. So that is why you see in most cases you say this thing came from a Greek word. Most of the words in education in almost all fields, you say it came from a Greek word. You will not hear it came from a Roman word. So, but the Roman Empire on their own, they gradually absorbed part of the Middle East because there was division in the how do you call it? There was division in the Middle East. Understand? So they were at the Byzantine Empire, the Roman Empire. So they occupy most of the Byzantine Empire. So as I said, I don't want to make it dull with too much story, but from my slide, you can try to see some of the stuff that I didn't mention and note it down. Listen. So we move forward. I want to share my slide. Now, after that one comes the rise of Islam and the Ottoman Empire. You need to know that one because the Ottoman Empire, after the Greek, the Roman, comes in the Ottoman Empire. Listen now. So the Ottoman Empire was at the 7th century. Listen, they were at the 7th century and they emerged in the zone. You know, each empire has its own season. From the Persia, from the Greek, from the Roman. Like I said, each how do you call empire has its own season. And the Ottoman Empire come at the 7th century, and that's where the Islam also emerged in the area and spread across the area. So, which means that the Ottoman Empire existed before the creation of the state of Israel. So before the creation of the state of Israel, the Ottoman Empire the Ottoman Empire, they exist between 1300 to 1918. So they dominated the region between 1300. When I say 1300, I mean 1300, year 1300 to year 1918. 1918. Understand that they dominated the region for centuries. Understand? But then came in the colonial period. Understand? The colonial period came after World War I. The Britain and the France, they now divided the region. They divided the Middle East. Understand? The Britain and how do you call it? The Britain and France, they divided the Middle East, and they created physical modern borders. Before, there was no borders. But after colonial period, they created physical modern borders. And then coming modern era, which is the contemporary era we have. That is where oil, Cold War, and nation states were developed in that area. And so the discovery of oil in the zone caused a lot of problem. Listen, the discovery of oil caused a lot of problem in the zone. So if you look at the slide I'm sharing with you, in 1908 and 1938, you will notice that we says both Saudi, Persia Gulf, Libya, and Algeria, they transformed the region because there was things that were making them to be somebody like rich. But after World War I, Ottoman Empire collapsed. When the Ottoman Empire collapsed, that was created, the Britain and the France, they divided the region, whereby they created border. Listen. So then most countries in the zone got their independence. Now, in 1947, that is where things become a reality. Now, in 1947, the United Nations voted to partition Palestine. Palestine was under Ottoman Empire. Understand? Palestine was under Ottoman Empire, but in 1947, the United Nations voted to partition Palestine, which caused a fight between Arab and Israel. We are going to get there. I'm just giving a brief. We are going to get to the explanation of what occurred before the partition. So they fought a lot of war, and which are the wars we are going to discuss in Mode 1 and part of Mode 1 and part of Mode 2. Understand? Now, geographically, when you talk about Middle East, anytime you hear Middle East, just know is part of the Western Asia, the Egypt area, the Maghreb. Understand? That is where we call the Middle East. So we'll not go long about that one. You can check on the slide and note it down. So whenever you talk about Middle East, you should know the countries that are in the Middle East. Know the countries that are in the Middle East. Kindly mute yourself, please. In case you have question, you can ask question. And at the Middle East, the religion, when you talk about the religion in the Middle East, understand, as I said, countries are there. They are Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Turkey, and the Gulf states. They are the countries that are in the Middle East. And when we talk about religion, they have the Muslims, they have the Christian, they have the Jews, they have the Zionism political ideology, they have the Pan-Arabianism. They have so there is not only one religion that is there. They have many religions that is there also, as it is in the other part of the world. So that is about that. Now, the creation of the state of Israel. The creation of the state of Israel. That is Module 1, Section 2. Module 1, Section 1 was just an history, an introductory history for us to understand the history of that particular zone. Module 1, Section 2 is just for us to understand how Israel was created. And whatever I say Israel, don't think we are talking about Israel in the Bible. If you want to just put it that Israel in the Bible, you'll be confused. Because in reality, they are different. Those are no-nos. In reality, they are different. They might be the same zone, but they are different. So not fanatic, but I just want you to understand. So now, Zionism and the creation of the state of Israel. When we say Zionism, we mean the movement among the Jews to return to their ancestral homeland, which is Palestine in bracket, and establish a Jew state. I repeat it, Zionism is the movement among the Jews to return to their ancestral homeland, into bracket, Palestine, and establish a Jew state. One thing you need to know is that Jews they face a lot of persecution, segregation, and discrimination in Europe. Most of the Jews, they were in Europe, but they face a lot of problems. Listen, so in the 19th century, Theodor Herzl in 1896, listen, brought up the ideology of Zionism. Listen, he brought up the ideology of Zionism in response to the anti-Jew persecution in Europe. The Jews in Europe were persecuted, and the only solution for them is for them to leave Europe and go to a place where they will call home. And the only place they saw as home is Palestine, because they believe in the spiritual book that Palestine is the promised land, an ancestral land. Understand? So they did a lot of conference, a lot of congress, a lot of meeting. And the first one of these was in 1897, where they see that the zone controlled by the Ottoman Empire, the zone that is controlled by the Ottoman Empire, the Palestinian zone controlled by the Ottoman Empire, is their ancestral home. So they need to take it back from the Ottoman Empire. So they created the Zionism movement. So they did not come in mass. They came small. They came small to the zone. But in 1917, you should understand that before 1917, Palestine was part of the Ottoman Empire. In 1917, there was what we call the Balfour Declaration. You can see from my slide, the Balfour Declaration. The Balfour Declaration, you can see from my slide, the Balfour Declaration of 1917. That is where the Britain promised to support a Jewish homeland in Palestine. That is when the Britain, they promised that they are going to support Palestinians that have been persecuted in Europe to return back to Palestine. Oh, sorry, the Jews, the Jews that have been persecuted in Europe to return to their homeland, which is Palestine. To them, it's Palestine. So that is when the Jews supported the Britain supported the Jew. Listen. Now, when it happened like that, there was a protest. The Arab against the decision, because the Arab were not in support of that. Because the Arab believed that Palestinians belong to the Arab, not the Jew. Listen. So they protest, they fought against that decision. Listen. So between 1920s to 1940s, the British continued to stay in that zone. They continued to rule over the zone, and it has created a lot of conflict between the Jews and the Arab between that period. Until 1947, where the United Nations partitioned the zone. When we say partition, they divided the zone with a resolution we call Resolution 181. Let me shift my slide. Resolution 181. You can see Resolution 181. Now, the Resolution 181 was in 1947. The United Nations, they divided the zone into two. They give 55% of the Palestinian land. So they give 55% of the land to Israel, while they give 45% of the land to Palestine. If you calculate 55 to Israel, 45 to Palestine, that is 95, right? Abi? Is my calculation right? That's 55, 95. Sorry.
55, 45 is
55,
100.
yes.
100. Now, they now say that, how do you call Bethlehem, Jerusalem, remain a property of the international community, international governance, which means that Bethlehem and Jerusalem does not belong to Palestinian, does not belong to the Israel. You understand? So they divide. So when they make the division, it caused problem. The Israelites, the Arabs against it, that the Israelites met us in our land, and they are getting more percentage of the land than us. It caused problem. And then, so in 1948, you can see from my slide, in my slide, I detail you that the Jews were allocated more than half of Palestine. Listen, despite being the less populated, they did not have the population, but they were given more than half of Palestinian land. Why Arab immediately reject it? They clashed. Listen, they clashed, they fought on several occasions. And in 1948, when Israel got its independence on May 14, 1948, when Israel got its independence, the Jew declared the state of Israel. That is when they say, okay, they are now a state of Israel. Before then, there was nothing called the state of Israel in government book. So until when the partition was done and they gave them the land. So, now, the next day, on May 14, that Israel got their independence, the next day, the Arab countries, Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, and Lebanon, they invaded that area called Israel. They invaded them, and that caused a forced war between the Arab and Israeli. So let me just put it between the Arab and Israel. And that war, Israel won the war. Israel won the war because they got the support of Britain. Israel. So the one that, can you mute yourself, please? The one that war, and also they expanded the territory beyond 55% that was given to them by the UN. So during that war, 700,000 Palestinians were displaced. That is where you will hear the word Al-Nakba. Al-Nakba. Let me share my slide. You can see Al-Nakba. For my slide here, you can see the word Nakba. You can see here, let me put it here. I don't know whether you can see. Yeah, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. You can see from the slide here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's An-Nakba. An-Nakba is an Arabic word. Understand? It means catastrophe. Because more than 700,000 Palestinians, because after after Israel and the Arabs, they fought after Israel got the independence. Israel took more land again. They were given 55%, but Israel took more land because when they fought, Israel won the war. So which make Palestinians to leave their home. More than 700,000 Palestinians left their home to Israel. Listen, they left their own to Israel. Which means that they are displaced. Listen, it's like when there is war in your area, you flee away, you go on away, you go to another area. So more than 700,000 left their home. Listen, so when you look at my slide here, so one of the words that's supposed to be there in your examination, in case you are writing your examination, anti-Semitism, Zionism, Balfour Declaration, UN Resolution 818. Listen, so you can see the meaning. You can see the meaning in front. You can see An-Nakba also, which is the catastrophe, and you can see the corpus separatum. The corpus separatum is regarding Bethlehem and how do you call it? Jerusalem. That the Bethlehem and Jerusalem is not the property of Israel and Palestine. So they became a separate body governed by a special international regime. Not the property of Israel, not the property of the Arabs also. Understand? So that is a corpus separate. That's the name they use for it. Understand? So now that is about module 1. If you have question, ask me question. If you have question, ask me question. I know we've talked about a lot of story. That's module 1 for you. If you have question.
My question is just that, are you going to share, will you be kind to share this slide?
What?
I said, would you be kind enough to share this your presentation?
The slide. I shared a slide.
Yeah.
I don't know who is talking. Let me check. Who's talking? I shared a slide with you guys. Okay, is Mr. Olakunle that is talking?
Yes, I don't have it.
Okay. I shared a slide.
It was also posted on the general group.
I don't know who talked with me yesterday. I don't know, somebody talked me. All this thing was prepared yesterday, so it was yesterday night. I think she contacted me around 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. yesterday night. So I just have to do something sharp while in yesterday night. So she's going to share this. I think somebody put it in the group also. Listen. So now we are going to pose. If you have question, you can ask me a question. I want you to understand mode 1 first before we can pose. We are not rushing. Listen, do you understand mode 1? Do you have question? Let's talk. Don't feel shy.
I'm trying to go check past question to see if I can see any question on this module 1. And
you see a lot of question. The one of the question you see is why is the Middle East called the cradle of civilization? Let me see if I can get past question. We at 8:05. If I can get, I will share it here. We at 8:05.
So there's this question. They said discuss the significance of the Israeli-Arab War of 1967, and the one we just talked about was the first one, which is 1948, that was triggered by the independence of Israel. So maybe when we get to the module 2, we'll see this one.
Yeah, module 2, you will have some of the war. We will discuss some of the war in module 2. We will discuss 4 war in module 2, or 4 or 5 war in module 2. So in module 2, Mode 2 is regarded as the Arab response. That is where we talk about war. What is the Arab? What did the Arab did in retaliation to the creation of Israel, and also for Israel expanding their territory to more than 55% that was given to them? So what did the Arab did? I said that is where you have the wars, the Intifada, and the BDS, where I'm going to explain everything so you are going to understand. So the mode 2 is divided into two, where we are talking about the war and the Intifada and the BDS. So now, let me share. I'm going to proceed. So in mode 2, you can see my slide. In mode 2, we are looking at 1948. That is the War of Independence, the Nakba. The first question, you will see question that talks about that. Explain the scenario that occurred during the Nakba. What happened? Understand? So we are going to discuss about that. Then we are going to discuss about the Suez de Canal. That's in 1956. Understand? 1956, the Suez de Canal. That is a canal where a major route for ship to pass from Middle East to Europe, to Asia, to Africa. That was a war that occurred because of that. You know, in 2026, in this year, in this month that we are talking, is the Strait of Hormuz. Iran blocked the Strait of Hormuz. That is the current war we are having now. So which means that they also have the Strait of the Suez Canal has its impact. Now we have the 6-day war. Understand? The 6-day war. The 6-day war is regarded as what do they call it? They have a word for it. I will remember the word. There's a word for it. So it's a war they fought for 6 days. Understand? After the 6-day war, they comes in with the Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is a major celebration day for Israel, and the Arab also attacked them on that day. After that, they have the PLO war, and come the Hezbollah and Israel war. You can understand now. So we'll study that one also in this war. Now let's take it one after the other. We'll take the war one after the other. If you don't understand, just ask me. You don't understand, we are going to discuss about it. Understand? So now, one thing you need to understand is that number one war between the Arabs and Israel, the first war was the 1948 war. Understand? The war was between 1948 to 1973. That was the first war. Understand? So 1948 to 1948 to 1949. That was the first. The other one followed after that. But the first one was between 1948 to 1949. Understand? So that war is regarded as the War of Independence, or the Nakba. You know, I've explained to you that Nakba means catastrophe in Arab. Catastrophe. Yeah, catastrophe. So I'm sorry in case I missed some word I might say it in French, because I have my French background is taking my English away. So, but in case I missed some word, you can correct me. So, catastrophe is Nakba. So, the War of Independence. Now, you know, you need to understand the causes, the events, and the consequences. Listen, the causes, you just picture it in your head like movie, like film, for you to understand. Understand the causes, the events, and the consequences. Listen, so the causes. Following the declaration of the State of Israel on May 14, 1948, listen, 5 Arab countries or 5 Arab states, Egypt, Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, and Jordan, they rejected the declaration. Listen, they rejected the declaration of the creation of the state of Israel. Listen, they refused to accept it. Listen, they wanted to stop. That's number one. They reject. Number two, these 5 countries, they wanted to stop Jewish states and protect Palestinian Arab. Listen. So the Arab, there are 5 countries. They outnumbered Israel. Listen, they outnumbered Israel, but Israel overcome them. So they refuse. They want to protect Palestine and stop the creation of the state of Israel. The causes, right? The event, 5 of them that I mentioned. Listen, after Israel declared the independence, the 5 of them, what they did is that they attack Israel. Listen, they attack Israel. So, although Israel was outnumbered, but managed to win the war because the Arabs were poorly coordinated. The Arabs, they were divided. There was rivalry. They were divided. They were poorly coordinated, and they have different political objectives in the war. While Israel was focused with a background in Britain. Listen, so Israel was able to unify his how do you call his military to strike the Arab. Listen, and they won the war. They took over more than the territory given to them by United Nations. You remember that I said in a declaration 181 of United Nations, they give Israel, the Jew, they give them 55% of the land, while they give Palestine 45% of the land. Listen, but after Israel, they don't tackle Israel. Israel won the war. So why would I be keeping my 55%? Israel took more than 55% that was given to them. Understand? So the consequence of the war, Israel won the war and they expanded the territory. You will see? You see, they said 6,000 Israel was killed during the war. Understand? And 7,800 people were displaced. That's casualty. That's casualty. And also, the displaced Palestinians, the 700,000 Palestinians was displaced. They fled away from the territory. They left the territory. It's like you are living in Lagos because of the war. You left Lagos to Abuja, and you are no more returning. And 20 years or 30 years after, your great-grandchildren, they want to reclaim that land, which is one of the fights you see every day on TV between the Israel and the Palestine. Yes, because most Palestinians believe that territory the Israel are staying there belong to the forefathers. So that's most of it. So the casualty that occurred there, the Arab, it stayed in the memory of the Arab. The Arab call it Nakba, which is catastrophe. Why the Israel, they call it the War of Independence. It was different meaning, but same scenario. Arab sees as catastrophe, Nakba. The Israel sees as War of Independence. Also, Yoruba people will say Ominira, freedom, war of freedom. They get freedom. Because before that negotiation we want, make we take small, you take small. Since you attack us and we're able to overpower you, then that shows that we are powerful than you. So they took more of the land than what was given to them by the United Nations. That's the first war. Do you understand or you don't understand? If you don't understand.
Yes, we do.
I like that one. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I saw one question.
that said, describe the factors that led to the victory of the Jews in the 1948 war, which I believe is this war of independence. So can one say that the international support they had gotten is also one of the factors, and the fact that they were able to unify their military under Ben-Gurion? So I don't know if you can maybe more factors one can. I mean, it's not like this is going to come out. It's just a way also answering this question.
Thank you very much. So one of the factors you can see in the second, I'll slide my slide. I'll put my slide here. You will see that we say the Arab forces outnumber Israel, but were plagued. That is, they were soaked in intra-rivalry because the Arab also, they don't like themselves. Although their common enemy is Israel, but among themselves, they don't like themselves. So because of intra-rivalry between this Arab country, brings in poor coordination and diverging political ideology, and they have different objectives to fight the war. Aside from having the support of an external body, aside from Israel having the support of an external body, the Arab also, they were poorly coordinated. Listen, they were poorly coordinated, which is also a problem. Listen, so Israel was focused, coordinated, and they managed their military command. You can see it here. Israel managed a unified. You cannot go to war if you are not in unity. As I said, they managed a unified army. As I said, under Ben-Gurion. So this army they managed make them the unity they had. Israel were united, but the Arab, they were divided, and they have different objectives. They were poorly coordinated, although they wanted to support their brother, which is Palestine. But eventually, because of poor coordination, they were overcome. You understand? So that's it. I'll share my note with some of you. You can have my note. I think they remove it from your group. So you can get my note from your group. I will have tagged again. So thank you very much for the question. So you can, if you want to answer that question, you take the first point, the unity of Arabs, the unity of Israel, the support Israel gained from outsiders, the poor coordination from Arabs, the divergent political objective from Arabs, the intra-Arab in Arabs. Listen, that these are 5 points, and develop the 5 points. At least you can have 2 pages with that 5 points, if not 3 pages, depending on how you can write story. Yes, and depending on how you can write story, so you can be able to develop it. Listen, so the second war we want to look at is the second war, which is the Canal War, or the Suez Canal crisis. Canal is C-A-N-A-L, normal canal. Listen, it was in 1956. Listen, the Suez Canal crisis, 1956. That's the second war. Listen, and we are going to look at the 6-day war. The 6-day war, which is in 1967. Now, before you understand the Suez Canal, you need to understand what is Suez Canal. That name they put here, Suez crisis. Suez crisis. You need to understand the meaning. Somebody is asking, are they the same or different? They are different war. Listen, Suez Canal was in 1956. 6-day war was in 1967. So there are 2 different wars. But in my slide, I put it in the same page so that you can see the 2 together. Is different war. Listen, so just ask question if you don't understand. We are not rushing. Unless you want to chase me away, then we can rush. Now, 1956, the Suez Canal crisis. You need to understand what is Suez Canal. You know, everybody know what is canal, right? Canal, C-A-N-A-L. I don't know whether I pronounce it well, but canal, like a passage where water pass. Listen, So Suez Canal is a man-made watery or waterway. My phone is low. Sorry, my phone is low. I just want to be sure I charge it. So Suez Canal is a man-made waterway. You understand? It's like your house and your neighbor's house. You now make a waterway whereby people can pass with their boats. But that waterway that we are talking about is in Egypt. The smart waterway was in Egypt. And the waterway connects the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, which means that the canal we are talking about connects two major seas, the Red Sea and the Mediterranean Sea. And the waterway is known as a shortcut for ships so that they don't sail around Africa. It's like you are in Egypt and you want to take your goods via ship to Europe. It's going to be easier through the Suez Canal. But if the Suez Canal does not exist, you will go and pass through Africa. You understand? You will go and pass through Africa. So, which means that the Suez Canal is a waterway that links Africa, Asia, and Europe in a triangular form. So easily is a shortcut. Sometimes to not go through Africa, you can pass through that way so that your goods and services, your goods or your service can pass easily. Now, I want you to picture it in your brain. Just imagine that. Just imagine that you have a ship, understand, from Europe. You want to carry something from Italy to India. You know, it is two different countries, Italy and India. That is from Europe to Asia. You are living in Italy. You want to carry your ship, your goods. Maybe you are selling fridge or you are selling anything. And from Italy, you want to carry it to India. Without the Suez Canal, the crisis we want to discuss now, without Suez Canal, the Suez we are talking about, the Suez Canal, without that one, the ship will have to go all the way around to Africa in Cape Town. You know, Cape Town is in Africa. So, which is going to be long, costly. It's going to be longer and costly. But with the Suez Canal, the ship goes straight from Italy to India. Understand? By passing through a shortcut in Egypt. I don't know whether you are understanding the picture I want you to picture. I don't know whether you understand. Do you understand? Before you need to understand the Suez Canal before I explain the war. Somebody, you can unmute yourself on top, please. Somebody is asking any connection between Suez Canal and the Strait of Hormuz. Is a different to us. It says Strait of Hormuz is in Iraq. I mean Iran. Suez Canal is in Egypt. You understand? The current war America is fighting these Iran people is because they closed the Strait of Hormuz. It's also a waterway whereby ship also pass. So Iran closed it during the war. But in 1956, something similar has happened where Egypt also closed it. That's what we want to discuss now. So I want you to understand, picture it. Understand? If you don't understand, just say you don't understand. Understand? I'm not rushing. So, in short, what we need to understand is that the Suez Canal is called a global highway for ship, like ship, SHIPS, ships. Understand? So it's a global highway. You need to understand the story that goes along with it. Understand? It was built by a Frenchman. If you remember in Module 1, Section 1, I said France and Britain divided that Middle East. So the Suez Canal was built by a Frenchman in 1869. Listen, but later on, since they partitioned the Middle East, Britain take over that Suez Canal and took control of it. You understand? They were controlling it because Britain, you remember that Britain colonized India. So it is easier for Britain to connect to India through the Suez Canal. Picture it. It's just story, but if you picture it like a movie, you are going to pass the examination. Listen, just picture it like a movie. You're going to pass the examination. Listen, so it was created by Britain, by France, a Frenchman, but because they did the partition Middle East, Britain took it over from it and control it because it's a crucial trade area from the empire, from the Britain Empire. They can easily transport things that can reach to India. Listen, now, causes of the crisis of the Suez Canal crisis. Number one causes, because the Egypt president, in 1958, the Egypt president, Gamal Abdel Nasser, nationalized the Suez Canal. Listen, he says that the canal is in our territory. We will take control over it. The canal is in our territory. We will take control over it. Listen, he's not lying. The Suez Canal is in Egypt. And if the president of Egypt say that he wants to take control over the territory, something that is in the country, he's not lying. He's still on his right. Understand? So he nationalized that territory, that waterway, that Suez Canal. Gamal Abdel Nasser, he nationalized it. He said that it's in our territory, so it belonged to us, not Britain. So, which this make Britain and France to be furious. Listen, they now did a deal with Israel. Listen, so the deal is that Israel is going to invade Egypt. Listen, why France and Britain, they are going to intervene as peacemakers, and then using that opportunity to seize the Suez Canal from Egypt. So in October 1956, Israel followed the plan. Israel invaded Egypt in Mount Sinai Peninsula. They captured some of the city in Egypt. They captured some of the city in Egypt. But what happened? The UN, United Nations, have to organize an emergency meeting. The emergency meeting, they deploy soldiers, forces to withdraw Israel from Egypt territory. Listen, United Nations asked Egypt to leave the territory. So they have to send Egypt to the territory to withdraw Egypt from the territory. So in March 1957, they left the territory. Which means that if Israel left the territory, France and Britain, they did not achieve their mission. Their mission is that we're sending Israel to go and disrupt that area, and we are going to come in as peacemaker, and we use that opportunity to seize it again from them. But unfortunately for them, they did not win. Understand? They did not win the war. So since they did not win the war, it makes France and Israel, so France and Britain, to lose their prowess, their power in that zone. Understand? So Egypt won political control of the Suez Canal. That's the aftermath of the war. They won the political control of the Suez Canal. The president of Egypt, Gamal Abdel Nasser, he also became hero in the Arab world. You remember that they lost the first war. So the second war, this president of Egypt became a leader. He became hero because he see that you don't fight them, you win. So, and France, I'm coming. You raising your hand. Let me just explain. France and Britain, they lost their influence in that Middle East. So this gave the Arab a perception that they can also win any war they go against Israel in that zone. Understand? So this made France and Britain to also lose their power in the zone. Now you want to ask a question? I'm seeing Sadiq Olamide. Okay.
No, I wanted to let you know that we can't see your slides anymore.
You can't see my slides? Okay. I'm sharing with from my laptop. Is it showing now?
No, yet.
It's network. It's a meeting network. It's network issue.
Okay.
Let me connect my second Wi-Fi. I have a second Wi-Fi here. I'm using my from my laptop. Just bear with me. If you don't understand, just let me know, please. I know it's story, but for the easiest way for you to understand, just put it as a movie. Just put it as a movie in your brain. So you are going to get it. Connected.
Okay. Question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much. I love questions.
So I want to understand something. So it means that the plan of the British and the French people to have intervened in this whole like the attack of Israel in Egypt. So the plan didn't work, except for Israel attacking them for 5 days, but they didn't have to intervene because the UN now intervened, right?
Yeah. So no, the UN asked them
Okay.
to leave the territory. UN sent an emergency force, so they have to leave the territory. So that means that the plan they had to invade as a peacekeeper and take over the land did not work. So the plan of the French people and the British did not work there.
Okay.
I'm trying
and
to
you
share.
had said that Egypt lost the first war. So I was trying to get which first war you were referring to.
The first war, the 1948 war, is part of
Israel.
them.
No.
You understand? Egypt was part of the country that attacked Israel in 1948.
Yeah, true. The Arab states that attacked Israel. Okay, yeah.
So they lost. So the second war,
they won now. They're fighting the right cause now. You
understand that? So now since Israel lost, and the backup of Israel, which is the France and the British, they also lost their power in the zone. The Arab has a different mindset now that is like they can win Israel. I'm trying to connect my slide, so because the person that asked for my slide, I think I share my slide with you people. You can try, but just bear with me. I'm trying to. So any other question, in case you don't understand? Claim or co-host. Let me co-host. I want to co-host and share my slide. Any other question? We are not rushing. Listen, although I'm not in the mood to teach, but I'm trying my best to make it understandable. But we are not rushing. Question. I want to share my slide. Just bear with me. I'm already showing you. If anybody can volunteer, I think I have you all have my slide, but you can volunteer to share. We'll continue, please. We'll continue if it loads right, and I'm going to share the slide. So now the third war. We talked about the first war, the second war, the third war. But let me just give a summary of the second war. Let me just give a summary of the second war. So the summary of the second war, what you need to understand is that you need to know the causes of the war, the event, and also the consequences. Listen, so that's how you can easily know how you can write in the exam. The causes, the event, and the consequences. So the causes is that the Gamal Abdel Nasser of Egypt nationalized the Suez Canal. It took over the Suez Canal. He said, it's in our territory. It belongs to us. He took over it, and then that make France and how do you call this country and Britain to be angry with him. So they plan. So Israel want to stop them. Understand? Israel want to stop Egypt. Understand? To reopen the ship, because Israel also benefit from that route also. Because if it's not only Egypt that benefit from that route, Israel also benefit from that route. What is wrong with my network? I'm not able to share my slide, please. I'm not able. I already shared the document with you yesterday. So Israel were able to take. Israel wanted to take over the route by asking them to open it, and then, but they were not able to open it. Listen. So the consequences is that Egypt emerged politically stronger, and the president of Egypt, Nasser, he became an hero. Israel got temporary military gain. Listen, they got some military gain also, but they have to leave the territory for how do you call this country, for Egypt. Listen. So this also shows that the Westerners, they don't have power like that. If Gamal Abdel Nasser can overpower the plan they had against him. I'm trying to share this slide now. To share. Now, the third war. The third war is known as the 6-day war. You want to say something?
Yes, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Sorry, I just want to take you back to the Second War. If the international organization were able to intervene, it means there is no winner for the war.
There is a winner. There is a winner. The winner is still Egypt, because Egypt was able to take over that Suez Canal from the British. If they did not win, it would have been a property of the British. But they were able to take over that property from the British.
Okay, thank you.
So that's where it becomes the person that wants me to share this slide. I'm trying my best, but this thing is not sharing though. This thing is not sharing. I don't know why.
You don't have to worry. It's okay. We'll still follow regardless.
Okay.
Please, I did not get the third consequence. I got the first two. That is, Egypt emerged politically stronger.
It showed that the Western powers no longer control the Middle East fully, because if they can be overpowered or overcome, it shows that they do not control the Middle East fully. So that they've lost the credibility or the power they had then. They love them. So I'm not seeing the slide there. Now, the third war. Let's talk about the third war. The third war is known as the 6-day war. I'll be able to share it. I wish I can share it so that people that don't have the slide can have access to it. The 6-day war, listen, this was just a short war. It was just a short war between Israel and Arab countries. It was in 1967. They've been fighting war. So they've been fighting war since 1948 till 2026. Till today, they are fighting war. So although they both have points, both Israel, both Palestine, both Egypt, all the countries they are fighting war, they have points. Listen, you can support them, you can against them, they both have points. So now, I want to use this medium self to say something. Tomorrow, second semester MIAD student, we have a debate class. We have a debate public speaking session on Zoom on this Israel-Iraq current war. So what we do is that every two weeks, we do public speaking on matters arising in the world. And I coordinate it for them. So just siding. So just a way to make my classmates be conversant with things happening in the world and make their public speaking better. Now, so I said the 1967 war is just a 6-day war between the Arab countries and Egypt. Now, so the Arab country we are talking about is Egypt itself, Syria, and Jordan. 3 countries. Yes, sir. 3 countries against Israel. So this war lasted for 6 days, but it changed the map of the Middle East. It's a 6-day war that changed the map of the Middle East. Let me say what led to the background, the causes. What led to the background? What led to the war? The background of the war. In 1948 and after the 1948 and 1956 war, the Arab countries still hated Israel. Listen, because they felt that Israel was built on stolen Palestinian land. You understand? They believe that Israel was built. As I said, we are not attaching Israel of the Bible or Israel and the Quran. Listen, so you understand the current Israel that is there now. Listen, so Israel was built on a stolen Palestinian land. So they had that hatred against Israel. Listen, Israel and its Arab neighbors did not trust each other. As they did not trust Israel, Israel also don't trust them. Listen, they don't trust Israel, Israel doesn't trust them also. Now, Egypt president that won that war, that second war, the Egypt president that won the war, listen, Gamal Abdel Nasser, he wanted to show to the Arab that Arab could stand up to Israel and Western power. Because he don't win the second war, so he thinks he can lead the cause. I don't know whether he don't get liver. Let me just put it like that. He has gotten liver. He has gotten liver that he can take over the how do you call it? He can take over the zone of Israel. Listen, so he wanted to lead by good example, as he has become hero in the second war. So in May 1967, things got heated. Picture it like a movie, as a film. Listen, things got heated in May 1957. I'm going to share my slide again. Trying to share my slide if it's possible. Now, Egypt moved its army to Israel border. Listen to it too. Egypt, they moved their army to Israel border. It's like Nigeria moving their army to Benin Republic border. So Egypt moved its army to Israel border. Listen. And Egypt told the United Nations peacekeeper to leave the area between them. Which means that the United Nations peacekeeper that came then in 1956 war, that were there to maintain peace and security in the zone, Egypt asked them to leave that zone. Listen, do they share border? They don't share border. They don't share border. Listen, they left their country to come and stay in the border between, Palestine and Israel. They are the one that share border. So they left there to come and stay in the Israel border. Listen, so the Egypt, they now block an area, a sea area. I can say, we'll be saying that the Middle East has many seas. And one of the seas, the Gulf of Aqaba. Aqaba is Aqaba. So the Egypt, they now block that sea route. They cut off the sea route, which is the the Gulf of Aqaba. And the Gulf of Aqaba, that sea route helped Israel to transport their goods to Asia. Then, this made Israel to feel trapped and threatened. Israel has said that maybe danger is coming. First, you put your army in our border. Second, you ask the UN peacekeepers to leave that zone. Third, you now cut off that route, the Gulf of Aqaba, the sea route, they cut off the sea route that linked them to Asia. That made Israel to feel trapped and threatened. Because Egypt believed that Arab nation, they were preparing something. They were preparing an attack. Listen, so Yoruba will say, person way person way sharp, person way sharp. Now you go win battle. So what Egypt did is that, what Israel did that, Israel strike before Egypt will strike them. Listen, before Egypt will attack them, they don't attack Egypt. Because they be sensing that it's like Egypt is like Arab country, they are preparing to attack them. So before the Arab country will attack them, they first launch the attack. They caught them unprepared. So day one is the 6-day war. Day one, what happened is that Israel make a surprise attack on Egypt Air Force. They destroy almost all the Egyptian plane before they could take off to another zone. Which means that before the Air Force of Egypt, they will move to Israel. Israel has went to go and attack them first, destroy all the Air Force. The next day, that was in June, the war was between June 5 and June 10, 1967. So June 5, they first launched the attack. The next day, what they did is that Israel quickly defeat Egypt in the Sinai Peninsula. They fought Jordan. After they fought Jordan, they captured the West Bank from Jordan. West Bank is an area. They captured it from Jordan. And also, they went to go and capture East Israel from Jordan. And the third country was Syria, because it's three countries that fought Egypt then. So the third country was Syria. So they went to go and fight Syria and capture the Golden Heights. The Golden Heights is also an area in the zone. They capture it from Syria. By the 6th day they fought the war, Israel has won a massive territory and massive victory. Because Israel did not let the Arabs to attack them first. They attacked, like Israel sensed danger. So instead of them to wait for them to be attacked, Israel strike first. So in this war, in this 6-day war, Israel captured more territory, which make them to have more land. The number one, it's not good. I'm not able to share my screen. Sorry, man. Number one territory they capture after the 6th day from Egypt. From Egypt, they capture Sinai Peninsula, Mount Sinai. You know, in the Bible, we have Sinai Peninsula, we have Mount Sinai in the Bible. So they capture the Sinai Peninsula and Gaza Strip, 2 areas. Listen, this is 2 areas. Why did they capture these 2 areas? They capture these 2 areas because it is important area that is rich in oil and buffer zone. Listen, it's an area that is rich in oil and buffer zone. That is the area they capture from Egypt. They move to Jordan. They capture the West Bank from Jordan and the East Jerusalem. Listen, because that, you know, after the Nakba, that the Palestinians left their zone, so Jordan also took part of the land so that they can be protecting the border, Palestinian border. So Israel took that land, took the West Bank and the East Jerusalem from Jordan, because it is an important land for Palestinian and also an holy site. From Syria, they captured the Golden Heights. Listen, from Syria, they captured the Golan Heights because it's a strategic grand space for defense. It's like it's a high hill mountain place. So from there, you can see your enemy from afar. If your enemy are coming to you, you can see them from afar. They capture it from Syria, which means that Israel was giving 55% of Palestinian land in 1947. But because of this third war, they tripled the land that was given to them. They tripled the land. That is, Israel land now became bigger than what that was given to them in 1947. I don't know what I'm communicating. It's story, but you just need to understand it by picturing it. Am I communicating?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is the consequences of this war? Consequences of this war. I'm trying to do my best to try to share the slide so that it can also help. The consequence, number one consequences of the third war, Arabs were humiliated and they lost their land. That's number one. The Arabs were humiliated and they lost their land. Number two consequences, Israel became militarily stronger than before. Israel became militarily stronger than before. Number three consequences, over 1 million Palestinians fell under the Israel control. Because Israel has tripled the land than before. So which make more Palestinians to be under the Israel government. You understand? So these consequences led to the fourth war. Understand? These consequences I mentioned led to the fourth war. I'm just trying to open. I'm trying to open it from my laptop. I cannot share it from my phone. So this led to the fourth war. The fourth war is the Yom Kippur. It might be in Arabic or in Jew, I don't know. Yom Kippur, that is a day where Jews celebrate. Although some people call it Ramadan, but it is not Ramadan as it is. Understand? It's a day, an holy day for Jew. No Christian have their holy days, where they fast, where they pray. So the Muslim also have Ramadan. The Jew also, they have their own holy day. But most people will call it Ramadan, but not Ramadan. So it's not Ramadan, but in most contexts, you might see it as Ramadan because it's closer to Ramadan in context. So, and when you say the fourth war, understand, which is Yom is YOM, Kippur is KIPPUR. I shared the slide with you already, so I'm not looking at the slide itself. I'm not looking at the slide, not able to see the slide. Well, let's continue. What is the causes of that fourth war? War number 4. The causes of war number 4. Listen. Number one cause, Arab countries, especially Egypt and Syria, they wanted to regain the land that was taken from them by Israel. They wanted to regain that land. Listen, the land they lost in the third war in 1967, they want to regain that land back. Understand? That's number one. They also want to restore their national pride because they were humiliated in 1967 war, in the second, in the third war, they were humiliated. So they want to restore their national pride. So that is second cause. The third cause is that they also want to force Israel into a peace negotiation. Listen. So Egypt wanted the Mount Sinai. Egypt wanted the Mount, Sinai Peninsula. They wanted it back. So they want to force, Israel to go into negotiation with them. Before this fourth war, there was no negotiation between Arab and Israel. So now in the fourth war, they wanted a negotiation. Now, what happened? Yom Kippur, I call it Kippur. I don't know how you call it. That's spelled, Yom is Y-O-M. Yom. Kippur is Kippur. Listen, I call it Kippur. That's an holy day. So Yom Kippur is the holiest Jewish day. In Islam, Muslim, they will say Ramadan is the holiest month. Listen, so Yom Kippur to them, to the Jew. Christian also have Easter. I think they have Easter, and so I'm not being too religious, but I just want us to understand it, picture it based on our faith and religion. Listen, so the holiest Jewish day is the Yom Kippur. So in that day, anything called war, the Jew will not fight war that day because they will be holy. Listen. So the Egypt and Syria, they launch a surprise attack. Listen, they launch a surprise attack on Israel. That is, what Egypt did is that Egypt crossed the Suez Canal, and they advance, they go to Mount Sinai. While Syria, they attacked them on Golan Heights. Listen, Israel find a way to push them back. After every fight, Israel find a way to push them back. But what is the result? During that war, during the Yom Kippur, they were not allowed to fight according to their religion. They were holy. It's like you are fasting and somebody slap you. You say, go, I cannot slap you. So, what happened? Result of that war. Number one result, the Arab armies, they regain some dignity. And number two, Israel realized that it was not invisible. That is, Israel, before the war, Israel think that no country in that zone can fight him and win. But Israel realized that it comes to a stage that we need peace. So that war set the stage for peace negotiation. So the USA and the USSR, then they were heavily involved in that war. And that opened the door for the first negotiation between the Arab and Israel. When they call it the Camp David Peace Agreement. The Camp David Peace Agreement of 1978 between Israel and Egypt. That was the first agreement, or the first negotiation between Arabs and Israel. Am I communicating before I proceed? I will roughly explain what happened in the Camp David agreement. Camp David Peace Agreement. I will roughly explain it for us to understand.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, good. I love questions.
Okay. In this Yom Kippur War,
yeah.
I thought after the Egypt and Syria, after the attack, I thought the Israel, they pushed back after they had a slight setback, and they won.
Yeah, they pushed back, but the Egypt and how do you call
Syria,
they gain some land.
Okay.
understand? They gained some land. So
Okay.
they pushed back after fighting serious war, but they gained some land. But you understand how they gained those lands from the Camp David Peace Agreement of 1978.
Okay.
So at the Camp David Peace Agreement of 1978, both Israel and Egypt, they agree on three things. Number one agreement, Israel will return the Sinai Peninsula that they took from Egypt. They will return that land back to Egypt. Listen, number two agreement, Egypt will officially recognize Israel. Before then, no Arab country recognized Israel. But because of the war, the fourth war, so they put in the agreement that Egypt is going to officially recognize Israel. Number three agreement is that both parties, both Egypt and Israel, are going to stop hostilities. They are going to stop the wars. They are going to stop the massacre they are causing, the war they are causing. So this became the first peace treaty between the Israel and the Arab country. Listen. So that made them to regain the land back. That make them, how do you call this country, Egypt, to regain the land taken from them from Israel. The land Israel took away from them. Listen. So that is the fourth war. Yeah, you can ask a question.
So was it only Egypt that regained the Sinai Peninsula? What about the West Bank of
Syria,
and then the Golan Heights?
Yeah. So Egypt was the main actor in the negotiation, in the peace, in the negotiation. So Egypt regained their own. Later on, I think in subsequent war, they also go, how do you call it, the subsequent war, other actors. So in Syria and the other actor, they also gained the territory. But Egypt, in the agreement signed at the Camp David Peace Agreement, Egypt have to get its territory back from Israel, because Egypt was seen as, if you look at the war, from the first war, second war, third war, you will see that Egypt has been there. So they see Egypt as a threat because now Egypt get liver. So other one they don't have liver. So they see Egypt as a threat to them. So they have to find a way to have an agreement with Egypt, and then certainly, because if the powerful one in the zone is with them, other small one, they will have no power. Understand? So then we have the Lebanon War, which is the fifth war. The Lebanon War. When did we agree that we are going to stop? What was the time? The time we agreed that we are going to stop. When did we agree that we are going to stop? I don't know who called me yesterday. I don't know who among you called me yesterday.
We said we're going to. We don't even want. We have one more module to cover, so until we are done.
You know, I know that's nice impromptu. So if I prepare, you go enjoy it better.
I'm enjoying it. I can't speak for everybody, but I guess the quietness is already.
I am enjoying it actually.
I mean,
Because it feels like
if you see the
normal.
notes I've made here, oh no, I don't even think I'm going to consult my notebook for this exam. So please, if we can finish the whole modules, please.
It's impromptu class. I didn't prepare for the class. So sorry, somebody's calling me. I just want to send a message to the person important.
Sure.
Send a message to the person. Oh, okay. The Fifth War, the Lebanon War of 1982. The Lebanon War of 1982. I'm not able to share my slide. I'm not seeing my slide. I don't know. Let's go. The Lebanon War. The background of the war. I don't know. Can you see it from my slide? The Lebanon War. Can you see it in the slide I share with you?
Let me see. Okay. Also, just to also confirm, if one is being asked the consequences of the Yom Kippur War, we can use this result of the war as the consequences, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you see the Lebanon War there? The Fifth War, Lebanon War. It should be the Fifth War.
Okay.
Yeah. I can see. I just opened the slide now, but I'm not able to share it from my hand there. So the Lebanon War of 1982. Understand? So the Lebanon War of 1982, you know, sir, after the earliest war that they've been fighting, understand? After the First War, Second War, Third War, Fourth War, understand? There was a group that was created, and the group was called the PLO, Palestinian Liberation. No, Palestinian Liberation Organization, PLO. Understand? So the PLO is like a movement of people that want to liberate Palestine, that want to chase away Israel from Palestinian territory. That's now. But they were based in Lebanon. That's now. The PLO fighter, they attacked Israel. They want to free Palestinians by chasing away Israel. So they were attacking Israel. Listen, but at that time they were attacking Israel, Lebanon was in civil war. Which means that when you say civil war, the government of Lebanon was not in control of Lebanon there. So those people, they have arms. They have arms, they have weapons. They were using a weapon to be attacking Israel because they want to liberate Palestine. Listen. And at that same period, there was inter-religion war in that Lebanon also. There was civil war, there was religious war also. The Christian, the Muslim, the foreign army, more groups were fighting them. So now, they were fighting them. So that period that we are talking about, the Lebanon government was weak. Understand? When you say it was weak, it does not have control over its territory. Understand? This made disorderliness, understand, very easy and armed grouped to operate. When you say armed grouped, it means that the way Boko Haram are operating in some part of the north, understand? So that is that there are some village in the part of the north, they roam around the street. People know them, people know their house, they know their father, they know their mother, but they cannot do anything. Understand? So it's like armed group having power. So this kind of scenario happened there. So they were attacking Israel. So in June 1982, Israel now invade Lebanon. Under law, a country is supposed not to invade another country. But because under international law, a country is supposed not to invade another country, but because of the disorderliness, the weak structure of the Lebanon government, because of that, Israel invaded Lebanon and target the PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization. And so they reach Beirut. And they reach Beirut. Beirut is like a capital, like a bigger city in the zone. They reach the Beirut, and now targeting the PLO. So the PLO, they now evacuated themselves from Beirut under multinational force. That is after the Israel have been bombarding them up and down. Understand? So the reason why Israel wants to bombard them, they want to stop PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization, from attacking them because the PLO have been attacking Israel. So they want to stop them from attacking them. That is why they went there to attack the PLO. And they also, Israel went there to push away the PLO from the border because the border at the south end, the Lebanon and the Israel, they have a cornerstone where they serve as border. So they went to chase them away. They went to Israel went to chase away those PLO, Palestinian Liberation Organization. And also they had a mission to destroy the PLO military base in Lebanon because if they are still in Lebanon, they will still be disturbing Israel. So in 1985, in June 1985, Israel fully withdrew from Lebanon. They left Lebanon after they've achieved their aim. Listen, after they achieved their aim. Now, the event of the war, understand, that is, I'm trying to explain the scenario. Listen, I'm trying to say, Israel invade Lebanon, Israel force, they reach Beirut, the capital of Lebanon, by chasing away PLO flee away, they run away. So which make, after they notice that they've left, Israel have to leave, they withdraw from Lebanon in 1985. Now, there are some scenario that says that Israel stayed, the war started in 1982. So Israel have to stay there in Lebanon till 1985. They stayed there to make sure that the PLO are no more existing in Lebanon. So, which pushed the PLO fighter? It pushed them to Tunisia. Tunisia is not having border with Israel. So they chased them from Lebanon. So they have to go to Tunisia, which is far away from Israel. So which means that Israel has achieved the target. That is, the target is chasing them away from Israel border so that they will not be able to attack Israel. The consequences. Okay, Farida, I want to ask a question. Yeah, you can ask your question.
About PLO attacking Israel, were they using bombs or what tools were they using to attack Israel?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. See, the way Israel and Iran, the way they are fighting today, you know how they are fighting? Iran stay in his place. He launched something over there.
Yes.
Israel also stay in his place. Calculate, he launched them.
Yeah.
So they were using ammunition. I cannot give a specific type of ammunition they were using, but they were using armed ammunitions to attack them. Listen, so that's what I cannot give the name. I'm not a soldier, but what I know is that they were using armed weapons. Listen, so destructive weapons.
So, sorry, one question. Yes. Can I go ahead? So I see Israel fights a lot. I mean, it's not because they choose to fight, but war comes to them. Given this, I'm just trying to link it to foreign policy now. What would you even say is their foreign policy now as regards? Because I mean, for US, you say it's neoconservatism, but for them, what's this ideology that is guiding all this fight everywhere?
See, every country is trying to defend its national interest. The national interest of Israel is to protect its territory from its enemy. And the enemy of Israel are its neighbor. Do you understand?
Yeah.
If you try to recollect how the United Nations created Israel from the partition, from the onset, they already know that they are not going to get the land at a platter of gold. They are not going to get the land easily. They have to fight to get the land. They have to fight to maintain their power in the zone. And they already know from the beginning. So to a common Israel man, he knows that the war will not end. The war will not end. Look at 1948, since its creation to date, they've been fighting. Maybe 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, they will continue to fight. On a religious base, let me just put it on a religion base. Some religion, I will not mention names, some religion believe that the day the war ends in the Middle East, that's the day the war is coming to an end. Listen, you can Google what I'm saying. You can Google. Listen, there are some religion doctrine that believe that the day the war ends in the Middle East, that's the day the war is coming to an end. Listen, I know it sounds absurd, but you do the calculation. 1948 is date.
It doesn't seem like it's ending anytime soon. Power is centralized there, so
it's not anytime soon, because a lot of power are there, a lot of multiple global power are there. They have the interest there. Listen, look at Israel killing people in Palestine and they are not being punished. Look at Palestine killing people in Israel and they are not being punished. Listen, nobody is being punished in the zone. So it's at the interest of some people.
But are there still present-day Palestinians?
Palestine exists now. Just that Palestine, just that, as we are saying in history, just that Israel has taken more than 55% of the land that was given to them in 1947. Do you get the point? They've taken more than the land, the 55% of the land that was given to them. They've taken more than that, but Palestine still exists. If you watch Al Jazeera for a good 24 hours, you will see that they will talk about Palestine. CNN and Al Jazeera, they usually talk about Palestine because there's only crisis there. Usually there's always crisis in the zone. Do you understand? So if some people might be on the support of Israel, some people might be on the support of Palestine, listen, but if you support Palestine, you have a point that now your territory. If you support Israel, you have a point that you just want to share part of the land and they're attacking you. You know, they look at them also. You need to also retaliate. Do you understand? So I'm not in support of anybody, but I'm in support of humanity. I want peace and love around the world. That's what I'm in support of. I don't want because some innocent people, they don't know when the war started, but they are the one paying for it.
Well, Mr. Akanji, if you were given an opportunity to go back and then share the land, how would you share it? How would you settle this dispute?
Settling this dispute, you see, the only problem the only way the dispute is coming is the land. The land is. If you look at the 1948, the first war, the War of Independence, as we discussed, what was the Arab fighting for? That Palestinian, that were the minority, the Israel, that were the minority, they got the higher proportion of the land. That was the reason why the Arab are fighting for. If they were not given higher portion of the land, I don't think the fight will come. Right? So instead of them to find maybe 50-50, at least you have 50%, I have 50%, then it's okay. But giving one 55% and the other one 45%, I think, to me, I think that was the reason that caused the crisis. And that's the reason why the Arab are also fighting them, that the Israel are the Jew are the minority, but they get a higher proportion of the land. And if I have to support Israel, I have a lot of points to support Israel also, because Israel, they were on their own and they were being attacked.
Sorry, Mr. Akonji.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can you say that Palestine is a sovereign state? Because they depend on Israel in a way. So are they sovereign?
At the moment, it's not a sovereign state, to be sincere.
They're not. The way they keep treating them, I wouldn't even agree.
At the moment, they are not a sovereign state. I don't know whether you've seen a protest of Palestine. They are in Nigeria. Some people protest about Palestine. In UK, I've once assisted a protest of Palestine that they say free Palestine, because Palestine also need their freedom at the moment, and they are not sovereign state. For them to get their freedom, they need the land, and which they don't want, the international community don't want to give them. So at the moment, they are not free. They are not sovereign state. Because for you to become a sovereign state, you need to control
the borders.
You need to control your territory from both internal and external attacks. You need to.
But they are not under colonization, under Israel colonization, are they?
They are not, but Israel has taken over a larger percentage of the land.
I mean, but they were not being fed to Palestine when they did this. Like the British, I know they've always had interest in Israel. I mean, sometime memorial, because they had. I mean, and they're still using them as instruments till date.
Yeah. They are gaining a lot from that zone. That's why. And the only way they can gain, they need a partner, and Israel is a partner for them. Israel is a partner to USA. Because on several occasions, Israel, on the United Nations Organization platform, Israel has been sanctioned, but the USA did not veto it. Listen now, the USA did not veto it. USA, when I say the USA did not veto it, that they did not approve that sanction. Listen, so we have 5 countries that have absolute power, veto power in the UN, and if one of them say no, is a no. The USA has not been vetoing that decision to sanction Israel. So which means that anything they do it and scot-free. Nothing will happen. Listen, because they all have interest there. That zone is a massive land where money comes in. Oil, you need gas. You get it from there. Most African countries benefit from there. Most European countries benefit from that zone. So we don't expect the war to end soon. So the war is going to go on, until when God say, okay, let's stop the war. But if it now woman be like us want to stop the war, it's not. Because people have selfish interest. So selfish interest is there, which we call the national interest. National interest is usually selfish interest. You don't think about the neighbor. You don't think about your neighbor. You think about how you are going to survive. Listen, so let us. We talk about the Hezbollah, right? The which war are we talking about? Which war are we?
They're still on the Lebanon.
Lebanon, okay, Lebanon. So the Lebanon war, the consequences of the Lebanon war. Israel remained in the southern Lebanon for many years. So now they started in June 1982, but Israel have to leave Lebanon in June 1985. So 3 years, right? They stayed in Lebanon for like 3 years. So since the PLO moved away, a new military group generated, which is known as the Hezbollah. Hezbollah, which is known as the Hezbollah. Understand now? So the Hezbollah rose up. Understand now? Why the Lebanon became more destabilized because of all the war that happened. Israel came, they fight the war. Lebanon get its own wahala before. PLO came, they attacked Israel on its own, which make Israel to come and attack them, which bringing a lot of problems to Lebanon. So it make Lebanon more destabilized, and thousands of Lebanese civilians, they suffered a lot. Thousands of them suffered a lot. You see, most of them are in Africa. In Ivory Coast, they are plenty in Ivory Coast. I was born in Ivory Coast, so a lot of them are in Ivory Coast. Listen, so Hezbollah became Israel's toughest enemy. After they chased away the PLO, Hezbollah came, and Hezbollah now became Israel's toughest enemy. That's bring the war number 6. And so the war number 6 is not that important. It's not that important, but we're going to just, because they did not talk too much on that in the course material. So we are just going to just briefly talk about that. So who is Hezbollah? You in the slide I share with you, you will see in the slide I say in 2006 Hezbollah war. Hezbollah, the word Hezbollah is Hezbollah means the party of God. So the party of God, it operates under the Muslim how do you call it? Shiite, the Muslim Shia. I think in Nigeria we have El Zakzaki during Buhari regime in Abuja during I think Kaduna or Abuja. So El Zakzaki, it confronted the Buhari regime during that Buhari regime. So they are the Shiite Muslim. So the Hezbollah is just a program of the Shiite Muslim in that zone, and it's just like a political party and also a militant group. They are militant group. The Hezbollah, they are militant group and they are political party. So it was formed during the Israel occupation of Lebanon. When Israel was occupying the southern Lebanon, that was when the Hezbollah was formed. And the goal of the Hezbollah, number one goal of the Hezbollah, is to resist Israel occupation. That is, they want to chase Israel away. All of them want to chase Israel away. Number two, protect Lebanon. Number three, support Palestinian cause. And what is a Palestinian cause? Freedom. Right? So Israel sees Hezbollah as a terrorist group, while Hezbollah sees Israel as land grabber. They sees Hezbollah as land grabber. So the causes of the war was in July 2006. July 2006. Hezbollah launched an operation to force Israel to release Lebanese prisoner captured in the zone. So they force them, they launch an attack on them they attack them for them to release the Lebanese, soldiers. So Israel on their own, they launch a 34 days offensive into the southern Lebanon, whereby they kill 1,000 Lebanese and 1 million plus Lebanese were displaced. In the War of Independence, over 700,000 Israelis were displaced because of the war. But in this war, number 6, the Israel-Hezbollah war, more than 1 million Lebanese were displaced. So the Hezbollah, they were able to fight the Israel to the extent that the Israel have to leave Lebanon. This make the Hezbollah to get praise in the Arab world. It make people to respect Hezbollah because they were able to force Israel to leave Lebanon. Yes, sir. So from that slide, you will be able to understand it very well. Event of the war. Israel bombed Lebanese infrastructure. On the other hand, Hezbollah fired thousands of rockets into Israel. So they did grand battle for 34 days. The consequences of this war, number one consequence is that the war ended with a resolution of the UN resolution. And the resolution is called the Resolution 1701. The first resolution that happened for the partition of Israel and Palestine was Resolution 181. But this resolution is the Resolution 1701. That is ceasefire. Let's stop war. Number two consequences is that the Lebanon infrastructures was heavily damaged. While the third consequence is that Israel failed to destroy Hezbollah because Hezbollah was stronger than the PLO. So Israel failed to destroy Hezbollah. Number four consequence is that Hezbollah became more popular in the Arab world. So this war showed that Israel could be defeated So it could be defeated, but it has to be like, it has to come in with a strong group. Guerrilla, they call it guerrilla group in the army. So guerrilla groups, that is stronger group, have to be the one that to face Israel, for Israel to be defeated. So that is the end of module 2. If I'm not wrong, that's the end of module 2. So that's the end of module 2. We are going to stop today. We are going to stop now. So I think it's 3 modules. Yeah, it's 3 modules. So module 3 should be able to easier. So module 2, there are some agreement that happen. Let me just read the agreement. So there are some agreements. Listen, in module 2. So from my slide I shared, the Oslo agreement is there. The Camp David agreement is there. The Israel-Jordan agreement is there. The Abraham Accord agreement. So that's if you are doing the CBT, you are doing the quiz, you'll be able to see some of this stuff in the quiz also. So if you have questions, I did quiz for some of your classmates, and I saw some of these questions there in the quiz. So we are going to stop in module 2. Module 3. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I just want to check something. Module 2. Okay, we are done with first part of module 2, not module 2 entirely. We are done with first part of module 2. We are done with first part of module 2. So
what about the Intifada War? The first and the second. That's part of the module 2.
Yeah, that's the second part of module 2, the Intifada. Okay. The first Intifada, the second Intifada. So
all right.
We are going to stop it here. So I don't know if you can have
Thank you.
I don't know if I will have time. I'm supposed to do class by 7 p.m., but I will not do. I'm tired. So I don't know.
Please, when else are you free? Please. We'll make you work, no matter, even if it's 2 or 5, 3 people that will be available and record for others. Please, I beg.
All my classes are on my YouTube. If you have my YouTube, you see all the classes there. I taught all for 4 semesters. I'm in second semester, but I did all the courses there on my YouTube. You can check on my YouTube. But let me just stop the recording, so I'll share the recording to you. I'll put the recording on my YouTube so that you can have access to the recording on my YouTube. I'll put it in the next 30 minutes.